Hello, good afternoon, everyone. We're learning the laws of evil speech. We're on the laws of Rechilus, tail-bearing, chapter 3, number 2, Gimel Beis. Okay. Im Reuven diber al Shimon bifnei Levi. If Reuven speaks about Shimon in front of Levi, so that means Reuven told Levi something about Shimon. Reuven says to Levi, hey, Shimon did X and it's bad. V'halach Levi v'sibur hadvarim l'Shimon, and then Levi goes to Shimon and says, "Hey, did you hear what Reuven said about you?" Asur l'Shimon lomar achar kach l'Reuven ech dibarta alai b'fnei Levi, ki al yidei zeh gam hu over al isur Rechilus machmas Levi. It is forbidden after that for Shimon to go to Reuven and say, "Hey, why did you say that about me to Levi?" Because when he does that, then Shimon violates Rechilus by telling Reuven that Levi didn't keep a secret what he said. So again, the story is Reuven says something bad about Shimon to Levi. Then Levi goes and tells Shimon, says, "Hey, did you hear what Reuven said about you?" And Shimon goes to Reuven and says, "Hey, Levi told me what you said about me. That wasn't very nice." So Shimon, even though he was originally the object of the evil speech, he is not allowed to then go to confront Reuven and say, "Hey, why did you say that about me in front of Levi?" Because now Reuven is going to be upset with Levi. Why did you go tell Shimon? Why didn't you keep it a secret? So not only did Levi violate Rechilus and Reuven violated Lashon Hara, but now even Shimon violated Rechilus. Now, even if Shimon goes to Reuven and says, "Why did you speak about me?" and he doesn't mention that it was Levi who spoke about him, even if Shimon just goes to Reuven and doesn't say, "I heard what you said in front of me," I heard what you said about me to Levi, he just says, "Hey, Reuven, I heard you were talking about me." He doesn't mention anybody, and Reuven figures out, must be Levi didn't keep his mouth shut. That is Rechilus also, because now Reuven figured out that it was Levi who couldn't keep his mouth shut. So that is prohibited. Okay, halacha gimel. V'da'od, furthermore, the Rechilus nikra afilu lo amar bifnei hanagei. Rechilus is prohibited even if you don't actually tell the person who is the object of the evil speech. Kigon ha'amar bifnei chavero, kach v'kach shamalti al Reuven shehaya omer al Shimon. You just say to a third party, "Oh yeah, I heard Reuven talking about Shimon, saying this negative thing about Shimon," and you say it to a third party. You're not saying it to Shimon, right? Classic Rechilus is you go to Shimon himself and you said, "You know what Reuven said about you?" That's classic Rechilus. Here you just say it to a third party. So even that is Rechilus, is prohibited. Why? Ki dvarim ke'elu garmin im nishma'u ish mi pi'ish la'orem adana ben Reuven ha'omer ben ploni ha'nemar alav. Because if you go tell a third party, word's going to get around, and if the object of who he was speaking about, if he was speaking about Shimon, and Shimon hears about it, that's going to cause a fight between Reuven and Shimon. V'kol shechein da'asur l'saper lo masha pleni diber al banav u'kroivav teva ha'adam lios meitzer b'zeh v'rachel mikri. And all the more so, it's prohibited to tell someone's children or someone's relative what someone said about their parent or one of their relatives, right? You can't go to someone's kid and say, "Oh, do you know what so-and-so said about your father?" That's Rechilus, even though you're not going to the person himself, but obviously you're going to his child, and the child's going to tell the father, and the child himself will be upset. And that's called Rechilus. Okay? Halacha daled. V'im kavanasu b'sipuro es hadavar lechavero kadei sheochiach es Reuven al shediber lashon hara al Shimon ayin le'el b'chelik aleph b'chlal yud sef hey. Now, if the reason, let's say Reuven was speaking lashon hara about Shimon, and you don't tell Shimon, you tell somebody else, and the reason you're telling somebody else is because you want that person to tell Reuven, you're doing the wrong thing by speaking lashon hara. So the Chavetz Chaim says to look earlier what he wrote in the first section, which is that if Shimon doesn't know that Reuven was speaking badly about him, you're not allowed to tell the third party to get him to rebuke Reuven, because if Shimon finds out that Reuven was speaking negatively about him, that's going to cause a lot of fights. But if Shimon already knows that Reuven spoke about him, then you're allowed to tell a third party with the 7 conditions. You're allowed to tell a third party if that third party will go to Reuven and scold him and say, you really shouldn't speak Lashon Hara about people, it's not right. So he's just referencing what we learned above, and with that we finished chapter 3 in Rechilus. So again, if someone speaks about Rechilus to you, to go and confront the person, right? Again, the story was Reuven said something bad about Shimon in front of Levi, and Levi went and was a tattletale, told Shimon. Now, for Shimon to go and confront Reuven, that would be Rechilus, because it's going to cause a fight between Reuven and Levi. Reuven's going to say, Levi, I told you that in confidence, why don't you keep your mouth shut? That is Rechilus also. And we said it's also Rechilus, even if you don't tell the person who was spoken about, you tell somebody else. That's also Rechilus. And of course, if you tell their family member that someone was talking about them. And we said, even if you're telling a third party that somebody was speaking Lashon Hara about somebody else, it's prohibited if that party doesn't know about it yet, because if he finds out that someone was speaking negatively about him, that could cause a fight. And then next week, God willing, we'll start chapter 4. And hope everyone has a beautiful day.